right, I'm going to get started then. We've had some clients who have asked about help with budgeting. It's kind of surprising how many people don't budget. Many people do have one and they just go, well, I haven't looked at it in a few months, or it's just not working for them. So we thought we would do a sort of a little primer about how we think about budgeting, with the understanding that we do numbers all day, every day, which is not everyone's life. And so we're trying to sort of just give some basics and to help everybody get started. Obviously, if you need help with your personal budget and need a little bit more specific direction, feel free to reach out. So real quick, we only have 30 minutes, so we're just going to sort of go over why we need a budget, how to get started, and then a couple different techniques that are out there that might work for you. And we'll start with why do we need a budget? Oh, we like this one too. So in our last webinar, we kind of touched on a whole lot of things, and these were a couple quotes I liked. One is from the famous Dave Ramsey: "A budget is telling your money where to go, not wondering where it went." I like that one. Barack Obama listed: "A budget is more than just a series of numbers on a page. It reflects your values," which is, I hadn't really thought of it that way before, but that's true. Where you spend money is different than where someone else spends money, and there are different reasons for that. And our kind of funny quote is from our own David Vaught, who said, "It's 2024. Who wouldn't want to use a spreadsheet?" So we'll talk about spreadsheets because that's my preferred method. But Amanda, one of my coworkers, was like, not everybody likes spreadsheets, weirdos. There are apps for these things. So we also did a little bit of in-house guinea pigging on an app that we can offer to clients who might want some help with that as well. So this is not something I got offline. This is something that I kind of came up with from just conversations with my team and with clients. And so why do you want a formal budget? First and foremost, everybody's financial life consists of lots and lots of pieces that move. And some of them are more immediately obvious. They're in front of your face all the time. Other things you may not look at on a regular basis, but they're out there and they have an impact on you. And creating a formal budget is a way of putting all of those moving parts in one place. When you do that, you'll find it's a little easier to create a balance. We talked to lots of different clients. Everybody has different personalities and different ways of a different relationship with their money, so to speak. Some focus entirely on income and savings. Like, I need to save, 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 save. And those are the people I'm always going, when are you going on vacation? When are you going to take a week off work? Because I'm concerned about that balance. And then there's others where we have to kind of get in the middle of them and their spending. They're going a little crazy. So they focus entirely on spending, or their anxiety is all on spending. Like, I can't spend any money, but they don't necessarily save anything either because they just don't know where to put it. So putting all of those pieces in front of you, all those numbers, we used to say put it on paper, and most of us are not going to do it on paper anymore. But having all of those pieces in one place will help you see them all and help you move them around and create a healthy balance between income and savings and your spending and your debt. And hopefully, once that is accomplished on some level, it will reduce anxiety. Most folks have some anxiety about finances. If you don't have any anxiety, then this seminar is also for you because there needs to be some anxiety to make things work properly. But once you reduce the anxiety that gets in the way of you managing your financial life, it will hopefully create an improved amount of clarity. It is easier to make decisions when you know where everything is. I just had a client recently who was sort of freaking out. Like, she really wanted to buy bedroom furniture and she never spends money and she hasn't had bedroom furniture in 20 years and her back hurts and all that. And we had to kind of sit down and go through everything that she had in front of her until she felt comfortable, to spend, $3,000 on a new mattress and bedroom furniture. And we came up with a budget and all of that. And it helps you to make those decisions. And so it's yet another reason to do this. In the end, if all of these things are successful, like we said early on in that quote, everybody has goals, everybody has priorities. And if you're able to get all of these things in one place and moving smoothly, you'll have a better chance of succeeding in whatever your goals are. So how do you get started? I like this picture. That's how everybody feels. So my initial step-by-step is sort of the basics. Just what are the pieces? So I always say whenever I'm doing estate planning or financial planning or tax planning, I'm always like starting with, what do you have out there? What is a list of all of your accounts and your balances? Usually that is your bank account, your retirement account, your savings account, your brokerage account, And then on the flip side, you might have a mortgage balance or a car payment balance or a credit card balance that's gotten a little bit out of control, or a student loan balance, all those sorts of things. If you're not sure, and even if you are sure, every year you are allowed to pull a free credit report. That credit report lists everything that your Social Security number is attached to. And it's really important to check that on an annual basis. In this day and age of seeming anybody and everybody can hack, it's incredibly important to keep up on those things and to have some sort of a credit report watchdog. There's all kinds of apps and services you can sign up to let you know if there's any concern on your credit report. But it's a great way to just get a good list of what's out there. You might find that you have an old account that you thought you closed 4 years ago and it's still out there and it's not necessarily got anything on it, but if you weren't aware of it, somebody could have hacked it and been using it. So start by getting a list of all of your accounts and your balances to see just where your assets and your liabilities stand. Once you do that, you can just say, make a list of your monthly income sources. Let's start with something happy, right? Gross numbers. Too many people have no idea how much they make. Emily and I do a lot of tax, and we get the question all the time. Well, my salary is, 80,000. How come I can't do X, Y, or Z? And it's because they have forgotten how much their health insurance costs, how much tax they have to pay to the federal government or the states, any other little bells and whistles that their employer offers that they've signed up for and forgot about. So start with just your gross salary, because everything beyond that, everything that takes you from your gross to your net W-2 salary is an expense, and we need to account for it in a separate line item. If you are self-employed and you are not receiving a W-2 paycheck, this number moves quite a lot. It's incredibly important to have a good tax person who can help you come up with that number. It is a number that you can find. It's not, completely unavailable or mysterious. You can find it. It's just going to take a lot more work than looking at your pay stub. So once you have all of your income sources accounted for, make a list of your must have to pay bills and taxes. So that includes looking at your pay stub and seeing how much you're paying in Social Security and Medicare, and how much your healthcare premiums are, as well as your mortgage payment, how much you have to spend in gas to get to work, to get to the store, just have to expenses, nothing else. Just make a list of those things. Now, here's the fun part. Whenever we sit down with clients and we're trying to help them figure this out, we say, well, we know you don't enjoy this. This is your homework. We want you to go back 2 to 3 months and look at your spending. That means pulling transactions from your bank account, your credit card, wherever your spending takes place. Download them into a spreadsheet or whatever format you prefer, unless you want an app, and categorize them. My favorite story is Emily and I sat down with a couple who was in real estate, and they were like, we're making all of this money. We don't know where it's going. We need help. So we said, go back 2 to 3 months, pull all of your spending. And they did. And they found they were spending $400 a month on Starbucks. So we all agreed that that needed to stop. And so you're paying yourself. These processes help you pay yourself back. Now, once you've categorized all that, again, you've got categories that are have-to bills, your mortgage payments, your car payments, your groceries, things like that. And then you have another half that is discretionary, stuff that you wanted to buy or might enjoy having, or, not even like, obviously you need a pair of shoes, but maybe you don't need 4 pairs of shoes in 6 months. So make a list of the discretionary categories so that you can move on to our next segment, which I call a deep dive. All right, so we've got all of our have-to bills. Go ahead and pull things like interest rates, due dates. Are there any options? I think a lot of folks are in the situation where, they get paid on the first, and their mortgage, their car payment, and some other large bill is all due on the same day. So they have money come in and money go out right away, and then they're like broke until the next paycheck. There are ways of adjusting your due dates. If you have a credit card bill that say you pay it off every month, that's what I hope you do, and it's also due on the first with all of your other bills, but you'd really rather it be due around the 16th after you get your next paycheck, call them up and see if they will move your due date. Sometimes that is possible, and the interest rate might be too high. Is it time to refinance? Is it time to start maybe making some larger payments toward principal to lower the interest amount that you're paying? All of those are important to look at as well, because you might have some flexibility there. Back to discretionary spending, prioritize. Obviously, you need groceries, but you need to buy brie cheese every week. Things like that. Desserts are expensive. various things can be cut. Eating out obviously is a huge expense. You should have a budget for eating out so that you can avoid doing dishes one night without, breaking your bank. Figure out what cuts you can make there to reduce that discretionary spending. Now, once you've kind of got all of those pieces out there, compare your income, your spending, and your savings buckets. We talk about buckets all the time. We have these webinars and we talk about that. So once you figure out what you're actually bringing home after the taxes you have to pay, and talk to your tax preparer about whether or not you're not paying enough, you're paying too much, compare that with your spending and your savings, because savings is an important part of your bucket as well. The other option, I kind of talked about this before, is to create a calendar for your income, bill payments, and savings deposits. So if you can move anything around and get those bills paid kind of steadily throughout the month or around your paydays to make it less stressful, that would be ideal. Maybe your savings deposits need to come at the end of the month after everything else is paid. That's when you make a deposit to your emergency fund or your brokerage account or your Roth IRA or whatever it is you're saving for. But once you have this plan in place that we're going to talk about a little bit later, you'll be able to see those things move at certain times of the month. And if you're a big nerd like me, it's kind of fun. So next, we're going to talk about methods. But first, before we get there, I want to ask the question is, how often will you revisit your process? I got people who say, I have a budget, I just haven't looked at it in 3 months. But you need to have a routine time to look at it. Once a month might be enough. Twice a month might be better. It often depends on how often you get paid. Things happen. You need to check your checking account, make sure nobody's gotten into it, or you need to check your credit cards a couple times, at least a couple times a month. Make sure nobody has started buying things somewhere and they aren't you. So that's another reason to check in on things. So I would say twice a month minimum. I think we're going to try to switch over so I have screen access so I can show you. All right, here we go. We'll see how this goes. Okay, can you see a spreadsheet? Okay, so when I was 16 years old and I had my first job at White Castle, I got out a college rule piece of paper and I made columns. And my columns included my take-home income and my spending, which at 16 included things like clothes and movies and gifts, but also like my car insurance and gas to get to work, things like that. And so I made my very first spreadsheet. And here I am many, many years later, still using the spreadsheet option. And this is one example. So I always highlight the month that I'm in, like, so that I can, when I pop into the spreadsheet, I know exactly what month I'm in, and you can scroll off over time. I start with bills. What are the bills that I have to pay each month? What day are they due? And sometimes I'll do things like, it's going to come out automatically on the 1st. And then I just track those bills. And as those bills get paid, I put a big red X next to them. Now, sometimes I schedule a payment, but the money won't come out till later. I've scheduled it, so I put in a lowercase x. That's my weird little thing that I do. You can do it however you like. And then I tally it at the bottom with another color. So that tallies up my monthly expenses. Obviously, this is very simple. Everybody's is going to be different. Every month is going to be different. And all I do is I go in and I add a line when I need to add something, and it keeps tallying it up at the bottom. Then I have income down below on the income days, and I have a tally for that. Oops, that scrolled up too much. Leftover is how much I have left over after I have paid my bills, including my Roth IRA savings contributions. Now, I wish this were my budget, but assuming you have this much left over, maybe you want to put more in your savings account, or maybe you want to make a higher payment towards your car, maybe not your car, let's say your mortgage, something, or it's money that goes into a vacation fund or something like that. So with your leftover, I have it carry over to the next month. And here we start August, and we'll do the same thing. And you can make adjustments in that calendar or in that spreadsheet throughout the period and make those adjustments. And then I just copy and paste through the year to have the same thing. And my sheet would be, 2024. I can't see anybody, so I don't know if anybody has any questions right now. If not, I'm going to go down below. If you want to go further and keep track of the big items, this is kind of like assets versus liabilities. You'll keep track of how much you have saved in your accounts for your total and how much your debt is each month. And you get to watch it go down, which is kind of fun. Or you get to watch this go up, which is also very fun. And you can do that monthly, or maybe you do it every 3 months or whatever you want. If you want a copy of this format, I'm happy to send it to you and you can make it your own. This is literally what I do, probably 2 to 3 times a month. And I go through it and I update all the numbers. Okay. All right. So I am going to stop sharing and switch over to. So when Amanda brought up, Danielle, not everybody wants to do spreadsheets. We should probably offer an app option. And there's lots of them out there. We have one available to our firm that we've talked with and used, and it's called Monarch. There are others. I can't think of any of their names right now off the top of my head. They're all pretty comparable in what they will do. Obviously, some people want something else. I know somebody else uses some sort of Quicken product. I can't remember. Most of them have some sort of an app, and all of them allow you to link bank accounts, credit card accounts, investment accounts to them and track them all pretty. And I'll show you a demo of one. I think this is it. Yeah. All right. So hopefully you can see this. This is a demo account. This is not a real person. I have no idea who Melanie is. It is very detailed. It probably took me a couple weeks of downloading data from accounts as a guinea pig for you all to see how it works. Once it got going, it was kind of nice. You could set goals in your budget. So if your budget for food is X amount of dollars each month and you go over on groceries, it will send you an alert in your email and let you know, and it'll show you when you're under or over anything, and they give you all that. That's in the budget section. This doesn't work as well for me. I really like the spreadsheet option, but I do really like the cash flow option because it shows you all of your expenses and in transactions. So you get to see what each and everything is, and you can set your categories. You can create a category there, or you can, maybe it's a one-off and you want to make up something else or whatever. You can change it to whatever you like, and they have little pictures and all that. So here you can see on a day-to-day basis what your accounts look like. I'll let you know where your credit card is. Here's your investments. I had a little trouble getting some things linked, like Schwab would not let me link. So you can manually enter accounts if you need to, like if say you have an emergency savings account and you don't want to link it or you're having trouble linking it, you can always type it in. There's an option for that as well. They went all out. They've got real estate and everything in here. I didn't do all that. You can if you like to. Our firm can offer it for you. The benefits of that is if you want to just pay monthly, we have like a $9 a month invoice fee, and we wouldn't charge anything for that. We would just charge you the $9. I think if you do it yourself, it comes out to about $15 a month. Most of these sites also have an annual use fee, which is less if you pay it one year at a time. If you link it with us, we will be able to see it for you. So say you're a client who wants to do financial planning and you've been really diligent about keeping up with your Monarch login and everything's in there and you're like, I want to retire, or I think I might be losing my job soon, or I want to spend money on X, Y, or Z. This is great because we can actually get in and see everything. You don't have to pull all that data. It's already there for you. And they have a report beta. I have not messed with this yet, so I guess I won't show it to you. The goals option, you can choose different things. There's an emergency fund, down payments for things, a vacation fund. I have a vacation fund. Education, if you've got kids. Retirement should be in everybody's future. And then paying down things. Say you've got a credit card balance that is just too high and you need to start making a real effort. You're like, I want this thing paid off in the next 12 months. This pay down scenario will help you do that. So that's that. I wasn't going to get into anything else specific. Does anybody on the call have any specific questions that they want answered, or anything that they would like us to cover more in depth in a future seminar? It's very quiet out there. Once again, I have done an amazing job and no one has questions.
I agree.
All right. Again, if anybody needs help with this, and they want to go over it more specifically about their situation and figure out how to kind of move some of these things to make it work for them, we're happy to do that. And if you have ideas for other webinars that we can offer, we'd appreciate hearing that as well. Thank you.